I am 75 years old today, and I am sitting in a house that is far too quiet for the size of the mortgage I spent 30 years paying off. Before I get into the heart of what I need to say, I want to ask you something. And I want you to be honest with yourself, even if it hurts. If you were to vanish tomorrow, would your company remember you in 5 years? Or would your family be the only ones left holding a hollow version of who you used to be? Please tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you are currently choosing over your children's time? I need to know if I'm alone in this, or if the world is still making the same mistakes I made. Before I share why I'm telling you this, I need to know you're listening. If you want to hear the truths that society hides, subscribe now. I don't have much time left, and these words are all I have to give. They tell you that the grind is a badge of honor. They tell you that being a provider is the ultimate expression of fatherhood. I believed every word of it. I grew up in an era where a man's worth was measured by the thickness of his paycheck and the title on his business card. I thought I was building a kingdom for my son, David. I thought every flight I took, every late-night meeting I stayed for, and every promotion I chased was a brick in the wall of his future security. But looking back from the winter of my life, I realize I wasn't building a kingdom. I was building a cage of gold, and I locked myself inside of it while he grew up on the other side of the bars. I remember the successful autopilot years vividly. I was a high-level executive at a firm in Chicago. My days started at 5 a.m. and rarely ended before 9 p.m. I prided myself on those 70-hour weeks. I used to walk into the office and feel a surge of adrenaline, seeing the younger guys look at me with envy. I had the corner office, the German car, and the respect of the board, but I was a ghost in my own home. I would come home when David was already asleep, kiss his forehead, and smell the baby shampoo, thinking I was doing it all for him. I didn't realize that a child doesn't care about the brand of the car in the driveway or the prestige of the neighborhood. A child doesn't experience quality time in the way adults try to package it to soothe their guilt. A child experiences presence. They experience the mundane, the quiet moments, the "Dad, look at this" moments that I was too busy to see because I was checking my BlackBerry under the dinner table. I missed the first steps because I was closing a merger in Seattle. I missed the first words because I was on a conference call. I told myself there would be time later. When I make partner, I'd say. When this project is over, I'd promise. But the goalposts of success are always moving. You reach one peak only to see another one higher up, and you convince yourself that your family will be better off if you just climb a little further. I remember one Saturday morning, David must have been 6. He came into my home office with a drawing he'd made. He stood there for 10 minutes, just waiting for me to look up from my spreadsheets. I remember feeling annoyed. I felt like he was interrupting the work that was supposed to provide for him. I didn't even look at the drawing. I just told him to go play with his mother because Daddy was busy. I can still see the way his little shoulders slumped as he walked out. That drawing is probably in a landfill now, but the memory of his disappointment is etched into my soul like a scar. We lived in a beautiful house in the suburbs, the kind people dream about. It had a big backyard with a swing set I paid a crew to install because I didn't have the time to do it myself. I watched him play through the window while I answered emails. I was physically there, but I was mentally 3,000 miles away. I was thinking about quarterly projections and overhead costs. I wasn't thinking about the fact that his childhood was a fleeting vapor. You think you have 18 years. You think you have thousands of days. But you don't. You have a handful of summers, a few precious Christmases where they still believe in the magic, and then, suddenly, they are gone. They are independent. They have their own lives, and they've learned to live without you because you taught them that you were a secondary character in their story. I remember the silence of the house during those years. My wife, Sarah, bless her heart, tried to bridge the gap. She was the one who went to the soccer games. She was the one who knew the names of his friends and his favorite dinosaurs. She would try to tell me about his day when I crawled into bed exhausted, but I'd just grunt and turn over, telling her I had a big presentation in the morning. I was providing, wasn't I? I was doing the hard work. I was the one carrying the weight of the world. What I didn't understand then was that the weight I was carrying was mostly my own ego. I wanted to be the man. I wanted the status. I used my family as the justification for my ambition. But the truth is, I was addicted to the chase. When David turned 10, he stopped asking me to play. That's the most terrifying part of this whole thing, the moment the child gives up on the parent. It's not a loud explosion. It's a quiet, cold front that moves in. He stopped coming into my office. He stopped asking if I'd be home for dinner. He just accepted that I was the man who paid the bills and lived in the master bedroom. I felt a sense of relief at the time. God help me. I thought, good. He's becoming independent. He's becoming strong. I didn't realize I had just lost my son's heart. I had traded the intimacy of a father-son bond for the sterile satisfaction of a balanced ledger. I remember one specific night. It was my 50th birthday. The company threw a huge party for me. There were toasts, expensive scotch, and speeches about how I was a pillar of the industry. I came home late, smelling like cigars and success. The house was dark. There was a small cupcake on the kitchen counter with a single candle and a note from David that said, "Happy birthday, Dad. Hope the meeting went well." He was 15 then. He hadn't waited up. Why would he? I hadn't waited up for him for a decade. I sat in that dark kitchen, surrounded by the finest appliances money could buy, and I felt a hollow ache in my chest that I couldn't explain. I had everything I had ever worked for, and I had never felt more alone. The 70-hour weeks became the norm. The 70-hour weeks became my identity. If I wasn't working, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to talk to my son. Our conversations were transactional. How's school? Fine. Need money for anything? No. Okay. That was the extent of our relationship. I thought I was being a good father by not being a burden, by giving him everything I didn't have as a kid. But I was giving him the leftovers of my energy, the scraps of my attention. I was giving him the man who was too tired to care, too stressed to laugh, and too preoccupied to listen. I look at the young fathers now, the ones in their 30s, staring at their phones while their kids are on the playground. I want to scream at them. I want to grab them by the shoulders and say, "Put it away. Look at her. Look at the way she's trying to catch your eye. That phone won't visit you in the hospital. That phone won't remember the way your hand felt in hers." But I don't. I just walk by, an old man with a cane and a heart full of ghosts. I see the same autopilot in their eyes that I had in mine. The belief that there is always more time. The belief that the work matters more than the witness. You see, being a father isn't about the big moments. It's not about the expensive vacations to Disney World that you spent the whole time checking your email during. It's about being the witness to their lives. It's about being the person who saw the small triumphs and the quiet heartbreaks. I wasn't a witness. I was a financier. I funded a life I didn't participate in. And now, at 75, the dividends of that investment are coming due, and they are bitter. The successful autopilot is a lie we tell ourselves to justify our absence. It's a drug that numbs the pain of missing out on the only things that actually matter. I spent years chasing a ghost. I chased the idea of enough. But enough is a moving target in the corporate world. Once you have $1 million, you need $5 million. Once you're a VP, you want to be CEO. I was so caught up in the more that I completely ignored the now. And the now is where your children live. They don't live in your 5-year plan. They live in the Lego set on the floor, in the scraped knee, in the bedtime story you're too tired to read. I skipped those stories. I skipped the Legos. I thought I was doing the important work. I want you to think about your current schedule. I want you to look at your calendar for next week. How much of that time is dedicated to the people who will actually cry at your funeral? And how much is dedicated to people who will replace you in 2 weeks if you have a heart attack? I'm asking you this because I lived it. I was the irreplaceable executive who was replaced before my retirement party was even over. But the years I lost with David, those can never be replaced. There is no promotion that can buy back a missed 5th grade graduation. There is no bonus check that can compensate for the fact that my son doesn't know how to talk to me because I never taught him how. I remember a time when I had the chance to change. David was 12, and he asked me if we could go camping. Just the 2 of us. No phones, no work. I had a major client coming in that weekend. I told him, "Next month, champ, I promise." Next month became next year. Next year became never. He stopped asking. That next month is the most dangerous phrase in a father's vocabulary. It's the coffin where we bury our relationships, one not now at a time. I am 75 years old, and I am still waiting for that next month to come around. But David is 45 now, and he has his own life, his own next months. I see the world through a different lens now. I see the vanity of the climb. I see the emptiness of the accolades. I sit in this house and I look at the photos on the wall, the few I'm actually in, and I realize I look like a stranger in my own family. I'm the man in the suit standing on the edge of the frame, looking like I'm ready to leave at any second. And that's the tragedy, isn't it? I was always ready to leave. I was always looking for the exit, looking for the next opportunity, the next win. I won the game, but I lost the prize. I want to stop here for a second because I need you to let this sink in. I'm not just some old man rambling. I am a warning. I am the future you are building if you don't change your path. The 70-hour weeks, the missed dinners, the successful life, it all leads here. To a quiet house and a phone that doesn't ring. If you're still listening, I want you to think about that question I asked at the beginning. What are you choosing over your children? Is it really worth it? Is it worth the silence I live in every day? I used to think I was a hero for working so hard. Now I realize I was just a coward who was afraid to be present. The corporate world is a jealous god. It demands everything and gives back nothing but paper. I gave it my youth, my energy, and my family's peace. I thought I was being a provider, but I was just a ghost haunting my own hallway. I remember the smell of the office, the stale coffee and the ozone from the printers. I used to love that smell. Now, it just smells like regret. It smells like the thousands of hours I spent with people who don't even remember my name, while the one person who should have known me best was becoming a stranger. I want to tell you about the day it all changed, the day the autopilot finally crashed. But I need to take a breath. This is hard to say. It's hard to admit that you've wasted the best years of your life on a lie. But if my pain can save one of you from this silence, then it's worth it. I am 75 years old, and I am finally waking up, but the sun is already setting. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part I wish I could scream from every rooftop in America. It's the part where the bill finally comes due. The crash didn't happen in the boardroom. It happened in a sterile hospital corridor when I was 62. I was at the height of my career, finalized a deal that would have made me a legend in the industry, and then my heart simply gave out. A massive coronary, they called it. The Widowmaker. As I lay there gasping for air on the cold floor of my office, do you know what I didn't think about? I didn't think about the stock options. I didn't think about the legacy of my firm. I thought about the fact that I didn't know my son's middle name. I mean, I knew it on paper, but I didn't know the why of him. I didn't know what he feared or what he dreamed about when he looked at the stars. When I woke up after surgery, Sarah was there, her eyes red and tired. But David wasn't. He came later, of course. He stood at the foot of the bed, looking at me not with the eyes of a grieving son, but with the eyes of a polite stranger visiting a distant relative. He was 28 then, a man I had funded but never formed. He said, "I'm glad you're okay, Dad." But there was no weight behind the words. They were light, like dead leaves. He stayed for 15 minutes, checked his watch, a watch I had bought him for graduation to make up for not being there, and said he had to get back to a meeting. The irony was a physical blow to my chest. He was repeating the pattern. He was using the same tone, the same important excuse I had used on him 1,000 times. I wanted to reach out and grab his hand. I wanted to beg him to sit down, to tell him that the meeting didn't matter, that the office was a vampire that would suck him dry and discard him just like it was doing to me. But I didn't have the strength, and more importantly, I didn't have the right. I had spent 28 years teaching him that work comes first. How could I be angry when he finally learned the lesson? During my recovery, the silence in the house became deafening. I was no longer the big man on campus. I was a man in a bathrobe, walking laps around a kitchen island, realizing that my life was a beautifully decorated shell. Sarah and I tried to talk, but we had forgotten how. We had spent 30 years talking about schedules, bills, and David's tuition. We hadn't talked about us since the Reagan administration. I realized then that I hadn't just lost my son. I had drifted away from the woman who had stood by me while I chased ghosts. I started trying to reach out to David. I'd call him on a Tuesday afternoon. "Hey, son, just wanted to see how you're doing." There would be a long pause on the other end of the line. "I'm busy, Dad. Is everything okay? Do you need money? Is Mom all right?" He couldn't conceive of a world where I just wanted to hear his voice. To him, my voice was the sound of a command or a transaction. We had no us. We had no shared jokes, no history of fishing trips or ball games to fall back on. Every conversation felt like we were both walking on thin ice, afraid to fall into the freezing water of our mutual resentment. The deep regret is a heavy thing to carry at 75. It's not like a sharp pain that fades, it's a dull, constant ache in your bones. I see photos of other families that have nothing compared to what I earned, and I see them laughing, truly laughing. I see fathers who know the names of their children's teachers. I see men who aren't afraid to be silly, to be small, to be present. I traded that joy for a title that was stripped from my email signature the day I retired. I remember a few years ago, I tried to apologize. We were at dinner for his birthday. I had had a glass of wine, and my heart was feeling heavy. I looked at him across the table, this man who looked so much like me, and I said, "David, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I missed your childhood. I thought I was doing the right thing." He didn't look up from his steak. He just said, "It's fine, Dad. We had a good house. I went to a good school. You did your job. You did your job." Those words haunt me. He didn't say, "You were a good father." He said, "I did my job. I was a utility. I was the power company and the water department. I was a service provider." He has no malice toward me, and in some ways that's worse. If he hated me, at least there would be passion. But there is only indifference. I am a retired executive who happens to be his biological father. The window for intimacy has closed, and the latch is rusted shut. I spend my days now in this quiet house. I garden a little. I read. I watch the clock. I see the young men in my neighborhood rushing to their SUVs at 7 a.m., looking stressed, looking important. I want to go out into the street and stop them. I want to tell them that the project they're worried about will be forgotten in 6 months. I want to tell them that their son's childhood is a one-time offer and it's expiring every second they spend in that office. But they wouldn't listen. I wouldn't have listened. The health scare was a mercy in a way. It forced me to stop, but it stopped me too late. I have the time now, but the person I want to spend it with doesn't need it from me anymore. David is a father himself now. I see him with my grandson, and it breaks my heart. He's a good provider, just like I was. He's always on his phone. He's always just finishing one thing. I see my grandson standing in the doorway, waiting for a look that never comes. I see the cycle repeating, a dark inheritance I passed down without even knowing it. I try to be a better grandfather. I show up to every game. I sit on the floor and play with the trucks. I listen to every rambling story about superheroes. My grandson loves me, and that is the one grace I have left. But every time he hugs me, I feel a pang of guilt. I'm giving him the version of myself that his father deserved. I'm giving the grandson the now that I denied my son. And David watches us from the kitchen, a strange look in his eyes, half longing, half bitter, before his phone pings and he disappears back into the important world. Society tells you that you are your output. It tells you that your value is your net worth. It's a lie designed to keep the machines running. The truth is, you are only as rich as the people who want to hold your hand when you're dying. I have a lot of money in the bank. I have a house with a view. But if I fell today, the only person who would truly feel the gap is Sarah, and I've spent my life making sure she learned how to be lonely. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to end up like me. I don't want you to be 75, sitting in a room full of expensive things, realizing that you've missed the only thing that was ever real. The corporate grind is a vapor. The promotions are shadows. The only thing that stays is the love you cultivate in the quiet moments. If you have to choose between a promotion and a bedtime story, choose the story. Every single time. You can always make more money, but you can never, ever make more time. I'm tired now. The sun is going down and the house is getting cold. I've spent my life running, and I've finally realized I was running in the wrong direction. I reached the finish line and found out there was no one there to meet me. Before I go, I want to leave you with one final thought. It's a haunting one, but it's the truth I've earned through decades of regret. One day, you will be my age. You will look back on your life. and the work you did will be a blur of emails and meetings that meant nothing. The only things that will stand out are the faces of the people you loved. Will those faces be looking back at you with warmth, or will they be looking at you like a stranger who did his job? I'm going to ask you one more time, and I want you to really think before you answer in the comments. If your child were to describe you in 3 words today, would available be one of them? And if not, what are you going to change before the sun goes down on your life? Please, tell me. Tell me you're going to do it differently. Tell me I'm not just screaming into the void. What is the one work commitment you are going to cancel this week to be present for someone you love? I'll be reading your answers. It's the only work I have left to do. Don't wait until you're 75 to start living. The silence is too loud here.